In this lesson, we're going to start adding doors to our model. This is where we can start to really gain speed in Revit. Once we add a door to a wall in Revit, the opening is automatically cut out of the wall. Also, when we add a door, Revit is smart enough to know that the jamb of the door needs to equal the wall's thickness. Revit will then number the door and add it to the Revit database for future scheduling. The objective of this exercise is to add some doors to our model, change the exterior walls to wrap the door inserts, then we'll take a look at how Revit numbers doors using the Mark category. Open the file you've been working on, or open the file called Chapter 3 and follow along. Once in Chapter 3, in the project browser, go to Floor Plans Level 1. Once in Floor Plans Level 1, let's zoom in on the radial entry area. On the Architecture tab, click the Door button. On the Properties panel, go to the Type Selector drop-down, and let's grab Single Flush 36 by 84 inches. Hover over the wall that's shown here, and move your cursor downward. Make sure you're at 3 feet 0 from the intersection of the radial wall to the horizontal wall you're placing the door in. Notice the behavior in Revit. If we move up to the inside face, Revit flips the door to swing to the inside. If we move our crosshairs down towards the outside, Revit will swing the door out. Since this is an exterior door, we want it to swing out. So make sure your pointer is down over the exterior of the exterior wall, and make sure it reads 3 feet from the intersection of the radial wall to the horizontal wall. Once you see this, pick a point and hit Escape a couple times. Notice that there's no tag. On the Quick Access toolbar, go ahead and select the Tag by Category button. Hover over your door and notice that Revit wants to put a tag in there. Uncheck the Leader button. Scroll back over your door and select it. Revit will put a tag in there. Your tag may be different than mine, but that's okay. Go ahead and select the tag itself. Select it again, and let's call it 101. Click off of the door, and it's tagged. The next thing I want to do is ensure our walls are wrapping. Go ahead and select one of your exterior walls. Click on Edit Type, and Wrapping at Inserts, make sure Both is selected. Wrapping at Ends, we'll leave it at None. Click OK. Zoom into your door. Notice that it's now tagged and the walls are wrapped. Let's try it again. Let's come over to this wall. On the Architecture tab, click the Door button. This time, let's hit the drop down and let's scroll up to Double Flush 72 by 84. On the Tag panel, click a Tag on Placement. That way we don't have to go back and re-tag it. Hover over this wall and type SM. Notice that will snap the door to the midpoint of the wall. Make sure that your crosshairs are to the outside of the wall. Once you see the door swinging out and you see the increments are even, pick that point. Hit Escape a couple times and zoom in. Notice Revit will wrap the walls, tag it the next sequential number, and cut out the opening. Select the tag and click on the little Move button. Let's drag our tag out just so we can see it a little bit better. That's a nice clean door. The next thing I'd like to do is scroll over to the bathroom areas and let's start putting some doors in here. On the Architecture tab, click the Door button. This time, let's click the drop down and let's scroll down to Single Raised Panel with Side Lights. Let's grab 36 by 84. Let's put a door right in this area here. Make sure it's swinging out. Make sure it's 4 feet even to the center line of the door. Once you see that, go ahead and pick that point and then hit Escape a couple times. Notice that Revit puts the side lights in, adds the door, cuts it out, wraps the wall, and gives you a door tag. Let's look at the door tag and talk about changing that. Go ahead and select the door itself. This time I'd like you to scroll down on the properties and let's look at what the identity data is. There's an item called Mark. The door's mark is 103. This 103 corresponds with this 103. In your Properties dialog, let's change to Mark to 100A. Click Apply. Notice that the mark of the door changes to 100A. We can modify it either in the model or in the properties as you see fit. Hit escape a couple times. Select the door and right-click on it, and go create similar. What I'd like to do now is, in the properties, go to the type selector drop-down. Let's go back up to single flush. Let's grab 36 by 84 again. I'd like to put a door right here, swinging inward to the wall at 2 feet on center. I'd like to put another door here, swinging into the same area. Hit escape a couple times. Select this door, and let's rename it to 102. Click off of 102 and close out. Notice that Revit gives you a warning saying that elements have duplicate type marks. Okay, that's great. Revit knows how to coordinate our doors. So go ahead and select door number 102 again, and let's change it to 103. Click off of it. It's door number 103. For the interior door, let's call it 103A. And click off of it. Let's do the same for the bottom. Let's right-click door 103. Let's go to create similar. Let's make it swing in. Notice that the door is being tough. It doesn't want to swing into the wall. To ensure that it does swing into the wall, hit the space bar and it'll flip the placement of the door. Make sure your door is to 2 feet on the center line and pick that point. Let's do the same for the interior and hit escape. Let's rename this door to be 104. Click off of it. Let's rename this door to be 104A. And click off of that. Zoom out. Save your model. Now, placing doors in Revit is very similar to doing anything else in Revit. You select the item from your Architecture tab, you go to the Properties, go to the Type selector, grab the door you want, add it to the model. Notice that doors are driven by their mark. Marks can be duplicated, but Revit doesn't like it. It lets you do it, but it gives you a warning. This is a good example of, if Revit gives you a warning, at least read it and make a decision.